So we're going to be talking about why a brand fails and why it matters. So a brand does not just fall in one day. Okay, a brand fell. There before a brand fell. Okay, there has been cracks that has been showing the foundation of that brand before it falls, before it finally collapses. Okay, there have been, several disconnections in the brand. Okay, disconnection in terms of disconnection from their audience long before a brand finally fails, because the audience is the engine room of the brand, is the engine of the brand. If there is no audience, there is no need for the brand to exist. Okay, so there has been disconnections between the audience and the brand long before the brand finally collapses. Okay, so one of the major things that causes a brand to fail is lack of clarity. When you as a brand, you don't tell your audience who you are, you can't tell them who you are, you can't tell them what you stand for, you can't tell them why your brand matters, why it is important. Okay, that's in the starting of your brand. You don't tell them who you are, what you stand for, okay, and why your brand matters. Okay, your audience will be confused, and once that confusion sets in, it starts creating disconnection. Okay, distance is the beginning of disconnection. Okay, because when you as a brand cannot bring clarity, cannot tell your audience what you stand for, cannot tell them why your brand matters, why it's important. Okay, it cannot build trust. Do you understand me? You cannot build trust. Okay, you cannot build interest. Instead, it creates confusion. You cannot build trust, and trust is the beginning of understanding. Is the beginning of trust. Okay, people need to understand who you are. Okay, why what you do matters. Okay, why it's important before they start to trust you. Okay, and if they cannot trust you, they will disconnect from you, and they will not remember you easily. They will easily forget you. Okay, so you need to be explicitly clear. You need to be crystal clear about who you are, what you do, and why it matters. Do you understand? You need to be very, very clear about that. There are a lot of people that don't even know what they stand for. They don't even know why their brand exists. They are just there. Their reason for existence is just to the essence of their brand is just to come and just make money in the market. Okay, that's just the. I'm not saying that it's not important. Money is important, but you need to explain your brand purpose. You need to explain the reason why your brand exists. Do you understand me? Because the reason this existence, that reason is going to help to, position you as a problem solver in the mind of your customer. Okay, it will help to position you as a brand that is on a mission, and will help to make your audience to join you in that mission. Okay, it will help to make your audience to join you in that mission, to make your audience feel like they belong to a tribe, they belong to a community that is in a mission. That's the reason why your brand matters is important. What your brand stands for is important. Okay, your brand purpose, that's why it's important. You need to state that. You need to be very crystal clear about that, because being clear about that, it will help to build trust. It will help to build more connection between you and your audience. Okay, so a brand that cannot do that, you become disconnected from their audience, and once that disconnection happens, the crash is already starting to show. Okay, now, and that thing is inconsistency. Okay, there are several brands that today they will sound corporate. The next day they'll sound friendly. The next day they will sound bold. The next day they will sound warm. They don't have a consistent brand voice. Okay, their brand personality is not consistent. Their visuals is not consistent. Today they are using an orange color. Tomorrow they are using a purple color. The next day they are using a white color. Okay, they are not being consistent in their brand identity and their brand personality. Okay, when you are not consistent with all these things, your audience will find it difficult to attach you to a particular thing. Okay, they won't be able to attach you to a particular thing. Your product quality is inconsistent. Nothing is consistent about you. Okay, once you are inconsistent, you will not become reliable to them. Okay, and once you are not reliable to them, the distrust will start to show. Okay, the distrust will start. You will not become a stable presence in the market to them. Okay, they will not be able to attach you to a particular thing, attach your brand to a particular thing. Okay, and you will become easily forgettable. Okay, nothing will make you memorable. You become easily forgettable to them. Okay, so you need to be consistent. Okay, you have to avoid that. You need to be consistent both in your identity, with your personality, your brand voice, your product delivery, the quality of your service. You need to be consistent in that. Okay, because inconsistency can make your audience to easily forget you, and once they forget you, they won't, they will barely remember you. Okay, they will barely remember you, and once they barely remember you, they will barely buy from you, and once they barely buy from you, you're already losing customers. Okay, which can begin to shake the foundation of your brand. Okay, so, and that's the reason why most brands fail, is that they don't communicate with emotion. Okay, you don't communicate with most brands. Most brands sound purely transactional. They are just there to sell their products. Buy from me, get this, get that, and all that. We are selling this, we are getting new arrivals tomorrow. Purely transactional. There's no emotion attached behind their communication. Okay, they don't communicate with emotion. Now, when you don't communicate with emotion, you just become like every other brand to your customer. Okay, and you become easily forgettable. Okay, there's no emotional connection between you and your audience. Okay, there's no emotional connection. We are not selling with a storytelling. We are not showing any transformation. We are not showing any pain point the consumer is facing. You're not showing the transformation you help them to get. Everything is just purely transactional. Telling them to buy, telling them we are selling this and all that. You are not evoking any emotional cues. Do you understand me? You're not evoking any emotional cues. You're not bringing your personality to life that will help to bring it to trigger an emotional connection. Because there are several ways you can trigger an emotional connection with them. You can either tell with stories, or you can either bring your personality to life. Okay, you can either bring in, maybe you can have one personality, you can have a put personality, because all these personalities, it will help to trigger their emotion. Do you understand me? It will help to trigger their emotion. Okay, whatever emotion you trigger with them, that's the emotion they will use to buy from you. Okay, so once you don't communicate with emotion, they will see you like every other brand in the market. And once they see you like every other brand in the market, you will no longer become a choice. You become an option. Speaking with emotion turns you from an option into a choice. Do you understand me? It will turn you into their go-to brand, because they've already established an emotional connection with you. Okay, so you need to communicate, okay, with emotion. Communicate with emotion. Okay, communicate with emotion. Now, another major thing that makes most brands to fail is that they don't listen to their customers. Do you understand? You see a customer that will send several feedback, they'll send several complaints to you via email, even through your website. You ignore them. You as the brand, you don't know what the customer is facing, but they will send you complaints and you ignore the complaints. They will send you feedback, you ignore the feedback. They complain about your product, you ignore them. How will you expect those customers to keep on buying from you when you are not addressing their complaints? I've seen many brands do this. They are just concerned once they have collected the money for their products, they have ended. For them, the transaction is concluded. They no longer have any business with you. Okay? If you want, let the product work for you. If let the product work, let the product not work, it's no longer their business. Their own is that they have collected the money. Okay, this is very bad. You need to attend to your customers' complaint. You need to attend to their feedback. Sometimes you can send out surveys to them, ask them what problems are you facing, how can we improve on this. Your opinion is your opinion matters. Do you understand me? Your opinion, tell them that their opinion matters. Okay, make them feel valued, make them feel understood. Okay, once your customers see, everybody is a human being. We are all humans. Okay, you are all human. There's nobody that you treat that way that will not acknowledge you. Okay, customers love it when you make them feel acknowledged, when you make them feel understood, when you make them feel valued. Do you understand me? Okay, when you reply to their complaints immediately, when you address their complaints, when you address their pains and all that, they will value you and they will keep on. They will not just become a one-time customer. They will become a lifelong customer. They will become your brand advocates. They will start bringing in customers for you even without your knowledge. Do you understand me? I've seen several, based on my experience with people so far, I've seen this happen over and over and over again. Do you understand me? So you can't use a bad, you can't ignore customer complaints and expect your brands to just have a solid foundation and keep on living. No, it doesn't happen. Okay, it just doesn't happen. That's not how the world works. Okay, you need to take your customers' complaints seriously, customer feedbacks seriously. Do you understand me? If they have problem with your products, address it. Send out surveys to them. Ask for their opinions. Ask how they can improve. Do you understand me? Make them part of your brand. Make them part of your journey, your brand journey. Okay? Because doing that will make them feel valued. Okay? So these are some of the things that can make your brand fail. Okay? And avoiding this is one of the ways you can make your brand sustainable.